Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian. In today's video, the aircraft you're seeing right now is called an Avro Vulcan. It was made by the British back in the 1950s and it had one job. Its only reason for existing was to take a nuclear bomb from England over to Moscow and to drop it. That's it. This aeroplane had a range of 1,500 nautical miles. Moscow is about 1,500 nautical miles away. So I know what you're asking now. What would those pilots do to get back home after they've dropped their bomb? Well, the people who designed the aircraft knew that in the event of nuclear war against Russia, there would be no home to come back to. So they designed it just to go to Moscow. Is that where we're at now? Is it 2 minutes to midnight on the doomsday clock? Are we ready for World War III? Is Putin ready to push that red button? Well, I don't know. All I can say is that things are not looking good here. Lviv was bombed yesterday, and that's 300 miles from here exactly. Still quite a distance away, but too close for comfort if you ask me. Vladimir Putin has one goal, and that is to take over the Ukraine. And he will do anything in his power to make sure his dreams become a reality, even if it means sinking the Russian economy. There are so many Russians over there right now that do not like what Vladimir Putin is doing. Look at what this lady did.
Российский премьер подчеркнул, надо усилить сотрудничество в рамках союзного государства, а на совещании в правительстве обсуждали, как сохранить доступность лекарств.
What an incredible thing to do. She went on to this news channel and showed this sign to everybody, knowing that she was going to get at least 15 years in the gulag, which means she wasn't going to be able to see her two beautiful kids for 15 years. She knows this for sure. She sacrificed herself in order to make sure that the people of Russia knew that everything that they were putting out on those TV channels was nothing but propaganda. Propaganda machine is well in effect, not just in Russia, but over here in the West. CNN, BBC, ABC, and all the other news channels, guys. You cannot believe everything that they are telling you. I've already told you this, haven't I? They are all trying to condition your minds to think in a certain way. Why are they doing this? This is because they want the war to continue. They want the war to perpetuate. War brings in so much money. It brings in so much money to television channels. It brings in so much money to news channels because people are glued to the news channels. It brings in so much money, of course, to those people who own both the news channels and also the weapons manufacturers, the people who are supplying weapons to both Putin and the Ukrainian government. So these are some really rich people, right? So they will do anything, and I mean anything, in order to not just perpetuate the war, but to try and make sure that other people get involved in the war. Vladimir Putin is now running out of time. He knows that, we know it, and he is absolutely desperate. So right now, he is resorting to doing so many dirty things. But guys, we must remember that these are the same guys that are also running Ukraine. They are also desperate. They are desperate to cling on to power. They are desperate to cling on to their motherland. They will do anything. Before I go on, please guys, like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting the channel on our Patreon, link in the description. I'd also like to invite you to please follow the Oversight channel that is there to help you to invest on the African continent both safely and securely. Link also in the description. So what exactly is it that these people will do? We are at a stage where just one thing needs to happen. One thing. One person needs to pull that trigger. One thing needs to go wrong. One missile needs to veer off and hit NATO soil. And that's it. NATO are going to kick off. And Vladimir Putin knows if NATO gets involved, he's going to lose the war. Because he's not going to beat everybody else, okay? Even if China joins in, which they won't, he's not going to be able to beat everybody else. He's going to lose it. So why? Why would he try and risk things? The other day, a hospital was blown up. Pregnant women, children were all in the hospital, and somebody sent missiles to that hospital. Why would Russia do this? What strategic point would they be trying to make? This isn't a normal hospital. It's not a hospital where they have an emergency triage and they deal with blast wounds. It's just a maternity hospital, a place where women have babies. And this hospital was targeted. Now, guys, I've got to ask you a question. We all know that Vladimir Putin is a very smart man, right? I mean, he was in the KGB. You don't get to go into the KGB if you're stupid. Vladimir Putin is not a stupid man. He knows that he is holding the vast majority of those cards. Things may not be looking like it's going his way. It may seem to you like they are absolutely struggling, but those guys have got time. They're Russia. They don't have to travel 10, 15,000 miles to another continent in order to get their supplies to these men. They just need to cross the border, and that's it. They are going to play the long game because they know that they can play the long game, and eventually Ukraine will fall. Vladimir Putin knows this. So guys, let me ask you this question. Why on earth would Vladimir Putin target a hospital, a maternity hospital? What reason would he have to do that? What strategic advantage would he gain from doing this? None. Actually, it would come at a disadvantage. Why? Because Vladimir Putin knows that he would get done for war crimes if that happened. And if that happened, NATO would do the exact same thing that they did in Sarajevo. They would come in, guns blazing, and it wouldn't work out well for the people of the country. And Russia guaranteed would lose everything they had gained in the Ukraine. So guys, for me, it looks like somebody is playing really naughty games. It seems as though somebody is doing things to try and get NATO involved in the war, because getting NATO involved in the war would mean winning the war. The Ukrainians, guys, are this desperate. They will do anything to cling on to power. Like I said before, they will do anything. And if it means doing something as heinous as blowing up a maternity hospital, they would do that. I have no doubt. Guys, I want to show you these videos. These videos that I took. I went to a right-wing rally right there in Maidan Square in the middle of Kiev. That's me who took these videos. These guys are not pleasant people in general. You get a lot of nice Ukrainians, but in general, the vast majority are nationalists, and they are very proud of their past. I already told you about their past of working with Germans during World War II. They're proud of it. Okay. And the Germans left them alone. They're all blonde and blue-eyed. So the Germans were like, hey, you're with us. Where am I getting at with this, guy? So what's the title of this video? Yeah, I know you came in for this, but the whole point I'm trying to make, guys, the thing I'm trying to set you up for is, guys, is that something is going on. The Ukrainians are doing everything in their power to trigger something happening, to trigger NATO's response. So what are they doing? Right now, there is a group of Nigerian students. A group of Nigerian students who are now holed up inside an apartment building. They are being held there against their will by Ukrainian soldiers.
We have Guineans, we have Ivorians, we are Cameroonians, we are Ghanaians, we are Senegalese. What are we doing here? We want to go. We want to go. We want to go from here. We want to go from here. Allow us to go. Please just manage a way for us to leave. We want a means of transport to leave. That's what we are asking for. We want to go. We want to go. If tomorrow we cannot find a way, tomorrow we leave. We are leaving. We are going to walk to the borders, and we are going to just try. What is going to happen? If it's a massacre that happens, it's going to happen.
Now the Ukrainian soldiers are saying they're doing it for their own safety. Why would you lock a group of pupils up in a building for their own safety? Does that not seem weird to you? Why? I don't think they're holding them up inside there for that reason. Now, word is getting around that the Ukrainians are using these Nigerian students as a shield. They're using them as human shields, not just to protect them, nothing like that. No. They understand that Putin has been targeting these places. So they are now using them, not as a shield, but literally as cannon fodder. They are using them to make sure that if a building goes down, there is the most amount of collateral damage and the most amount of lost lives. That's what they're looking for. And let's face it, guys, you know the way the Ukrainian army works. You know what they've been doing at the border. What makes you think that they're going to do anything different with these Nigerian students? Of course, they are looking for somebody to take the place of their women and of their children who have now long gone across the border. They still need that collateral damage. They still need something to happen, okay? If everyone's gone out of Ukraine, then of course, there isn't going to be any collateral damage and Russia can just come in and steamroll in. But if there are civilians there, if there are civilians that have been caught there, then that's not going to happen, is it? And if it does, then Russia could be accused of war crimes and NATO could get involved. So yes, guys, this is what the Nigerian students are saying. I'm not saying this. The Nigerian students are saying this because they're Nigerian students. They're not stupid. They are not stupid. So they know what's going on. They can see what's going on. They can see that there are soldiers with guns making sure that those Nigerian students, those black students, are there right now waiting for the worst to happen. It's the perfect scenario. Guys, I don't have to ask you whether or not these Ukrainian soldiers would do that. You guys already know. From what you've seen already, you already know that they would do this. And you now know the reasons why they are doing it. So now it's up to the Nigerian government. It is up to them to step up to the plate to make sure that these students get to leave the Ukraine as safe and as quickly as possible. It's up to him to act. It's up to him to use his diplomatic powers to speak to Putin, to speak to Vladimir Zelensky and get those students out of there. War is terrible. War is horrible. It's ugly. And now you're seeing the real face of it. The real ugly underbelly that nobody wants to see. Forget about what you see on CNN and on BBC. It's all garbage, okay? Wake up. Keep your eyes open and do your best to share this video to make sure as many people know about it as possible, because no one's talking about it. No one's going to be talking about this on the mainstream media. Like I said, the people who own the mainstream media are the same people who are the warmongers. They are the same people who own the weapons manufacturers. They are the same people that want this war to continue. They like the destruction. They love that. They love that. Because that destruction means more money for them. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Until the next time, please think twice. Ta-ra a bit.